No, today I'm the boss. I'm the host. Anyone can see this? Oh yeah. Get it together.
Yeah.
No. 단단 내 가서 만도 내 꾸르꾸르 주소랑 게 제단에 주시고요 봐. 단데 가서 장보는 뭐 제가서 대하고 그러와. 아니 소소 니레니레 샹쪽 그셈 깨단기 아니 좋아하던 데 지나서 와. 남주인데 가와나 요래 딱 가서 가서 루루 뒤뒤다고 제 답대 오지도 소래. 대 소소 니레니레데 냠내 쳤다. 아니 뱀도 야 보여서 그래서.
This we have been discussing at the Curriculum Center too. His Holiness the Dalai Lama instructed us to, try to generate the waking mind every day, and therefore I prepared this text, which is actually in the different scriptures. And what we did is bring together into one set about how to do refuge and generate the bodhicitta.
제가 지나서 대 남정어도 샹주 선배 돈바 쉬어야나 아니 telaya 자동 접제다 이제 쉐도세 마봉어서 송거 마보요레스 아니 대인데 샹주 선배 돈바 랭게요 말레스 대학고 지고 와.
So this is not like we are taking Bodhisattva vow. When you take Bodhisattva vow, there are 18 root commitment and then many other branch commitment. So this is not a taking Bodhisattva vow. This is a generating bodhicitta mind.
제가 계산 장보는 부지가 손소 담보니가 손소 장보는 부지 니마 딱 봐야 안돼 나도 라만 초백이 단주던데 니마 딱 봐 된다고요 아니 담보 시에서 원하는 걸 대식 손소.
His Holiness does this generating of bodhicitta mind while he is doing the Guru Puja practices, and he mentioned that during the generous empowerment. So the 장심 dombliya 말이 장심 전주 쌤 깨달아 봐.
라레레 장심 깨달아.
라스 계속.
어때지? 제자가 내 가서 아니 슈구장 보는 거 나도 참말 나서 다 되게 되는 지나서 샤주스에 너무 째게 매다스 나도 참만 냠도다 근데 봐 시에 좀 내더니 다 인지가 빠질 때는 연독하고 그랬어. 도치 나서 나도 냠도인다 송소 내배 나도 될라 대자로라 옆에 무슨 있다 나도 랍자 첨보지 그랬어.
Some of you may remember during the Sakadawa 15th day when His Holiness mentioned that today I'm not giving you the vow, but rather I'm generating the bodhicitta mind with you, along you, or like together. So this really advice and instruction has a very profound meaning.
가르나 간도 샤조선배 돈받나게 란나 이 마보지 간도 지대 잡고 그랬어. 아 땅갈랭이 메스테 마보 소한도 나 시에서도.
This is very wise. For example, if His Holiness mentioned today we are going to take a bodhisattva vow, then a lot of people will pull out. They may not be able to commit to this kind of vow.
제가 대카야 말 대지나 카야 말아서 간도 대카야 말 제자 대제다 아니 군도 양티가라 가서도 안 간도 로따바 사가 다베니까 내 책에 나왔었어.
Of course, that's very understandable. If people didn't want to take vows that they cannot observe. And then remember, His Holiness said every Sagadawa, the full moon, the 15th day, we will do these the practices. So that's incredible.
제가 내 뉴뉴시라래 내 마보요 말 답되고 쉬운 게 뉴뉴 소자에 가서 아니 땅 고들 땅에 산지 주도만 되고 짬도 되요래. 아니 대체라도 아니 테마 딴데 소소 다나 또 파타요 소소 쇼가라 빠야면 폰을 다운로드체 아니 내 남주 소소 칸데 볼래되나 답변에 달로 사가 나왔네 엔다 소소 마셔 발한데 냠내 체타와나 아니 냠내 답되고지 배 무슨 내 니바치 뭐지 자요래.
So very short, practices. You have the taking refuge, generating the bodhicitta mind, and you can insert this to your daily recitation. We will send this to you.
제가 남주 차라서 양탄다 가로. 나 다제들은 너네 차라서 내 제대로 그랬어. 하고 연하면 나도 제대로 그랬어.
Those practitioners who are doing the generation practices of the different deities, of course, you are, doing this daily because it's at the beginning of the deity practices.
제가 남정한도 배나 라마집에 쫓다면 그 라마집에 쫓단다 전조 땅게 연하면 가지 뎁드나 요레스. 뭐뭐 샹조 선배 돈발래야다 아니 막 돈발래 대갑 아니 갈레미트서 걔 만들어지 같은 데데 그래서 제가 땡어도 노르데샤 대변 노르데샤 샹조 선배 돈발래야다 샹조 선배한테 가 초가집 받다 섬다다 가래도
So usually when we do the Guru Puja practices, it's in part of it. And people usually when they do the daily practices, they recite it without even thinking about it. But actually in that kind of portion of the practices, you are taking Bodhisattva vow.
맞다. 대가랑도 지어로 왔대. 점도 돈발랭게 랭고 레모도 왔어. 나 빼셔 직바인 거지. 인반의 상적부 샘께게 요섬나 빼셔는 뇌초고도. 나도 남주 속당에 가라 미카지 마보고 만들어야 되거든. 당가 상적sem에 돈발랭게 매였습니다. 신네.
That's right. So when we do the Guru Puja, we can, practice and we can recite this by thinking, I'm going to generate a bodhicitta mind. And because some people, they don't, recite that portion thinking that this is taking vow and they didn't want to do it. But actually, this is not the case. They can, recite this because it's just like generating this bodhicitta mind, but not taking bodhisattva vow.
안데 답도 남주 전화도 칸데 셴바 요나 산지 주소마 미세 쪼고 말 산지 주소마 그냥 넣어서 걸어 왔어 대올라 다 진짜 선바당에 디디 소셔야 됐어 아니 디디는 되는 되게 제가 되는 되게 이나 다 두세 명에서 최대 디디는 봐 소셔야 되는 자산 상대요 그래
when you are doing other practices, the generating bodhicitta mind should be at the beginning of that practices. Maybe then you don't have to do it here. And here also the prayer to the Shakyamuni Buddha, I have shortened it. If you know the whole text by heart or something, you can recite it. But here, for the time purposes, we have shortened that prayer too. And then we have the practices of the seven limb prayer. This is primarily for generating merit.
아니 뒤 주고 달라야 아니 메라 되어요. 마다를 해도.
민도 만데 민도 연락 준비해 주고야 아니 전주 샘기를.
알레레 때문에 다 메라고 메라 저를 치들. 어디 단이 단 섬져야 돼. 다 칭데 테마 섬죠. 테마 섬긴 미긴 주 조바다 아니 다 가리 수수 샘제 탐주거든 산제 공부 토브르쇼 샘베다 들리 샘 깨기 예삼고레스 대나고 다 산제 샘 깨기 오레스
And so followed by the seven limb practices, we do the generation of the bodhicitta mind. And when we do that, we really recite it from our depth of our heart. And to the last line, for the benefit of all the sentient beings, may generate a bodhicitta mind. When you say that, you say this sincerely. And when you do that, then a generation of bodhicitta mind is seated in your heart.
제가 샤접 선배 돈발라는 데가다 된데가 샘데 게 된데가 아니 샤접 선배 랍자 강에 받은게 아니 송거 예삼샤와이나 아니 샤접 선배 샤접 선배 돈발랜도 그래서 대고 말해서
when you take a bodhisattva vow toward the end of this, may generate a bodhicitta mind for the benefit of all sentient beings. For that purpose, I'm going to take a bodhisattva vow and I'm going to commit to all the commitment mentioned in the bodhisattva vow. If you say that, then you're taking the bodhisattva vow. But here, it's merely generating the bodhicitta mind. So you don't have to say that remaining sentences.
제가 샤접 샘 깨야게 초가다 샤접 돈발랭게 초가 찍받치잖아 내가 하봐요 말했어. 이나 렘바보 소소 삼나단다 괜찮더라고.
So the taking bodhisattva, generating bodhicitta mind, and the taking bodhisattva vow It's basically the same ritual, the same rite, relying on the same text, but it's a different, if you say, approach.
Okay. 제가 내 몸보 문도 왔어.
So this is very short text.
아니 뒤 주게 될라야 아니 단다 지대로 잠바 파우치도 잡아든 것도 뭐 같아요. 그래서.
And then toward the end of that, we have this dedication text, like the Manjushri and the Samandabhadra may also dedicate all this merit for the good practices.
제자는 튼두면 요 말. 다 전화서 오네. 달로 사가 다와된 거 두네 전화서 다 남주 현대 계속 맹해되는 예 봐나. 아니 내 인지무지 니네 나와 있나. 답에 무슨 베겠다는데 니바 첨보. 내가 뉴뉴 안에 편독 첨보 요사래 돼.
So, from this Sagadao onward, if you're able to do these practices daily, it's very short but very powerful practices. And especially when you don't have to go to office, you can work from home. Maybe you have more time to do this, and this is very powerful practices.
아니 대한 그 수수 님아치 테마 가드 채널이 그래. 가드 채널이 그래. 내가 믹스에 지나서 내 제초로 조금만 더 캐마. 소다 선바 삼보치야 돼.
So these practices are no constrained by timing. You can do this at any time of the day. One of the most important advice followed by these practices to be kind and to be, a good heart.
아니 근데 공다 마녀가 마녀서는 고치자야는 비싸로 왔고. 아니 공다 생각을 해보 쳐야 되거든.
You can do this as many times as you can. You can do this just before go to sleep. You can do this in your bed. It will have amazing result.
제자대 마음보면도 저도 깔래 가다래 왜?
So this is quite short, and do you think it will be too hard for you to practice?
제가 내 차라 년가 싫어 요 말에 아니 마음보 요 말에 근데 소소 롤 섬잖아 롤 섬대다고 그래 답되고 쇼여를.
And this is less risk, not too long. You can easily memorize it.
제가 단다 지나서 가서 장고는 뭐지 그 샹주점에 돈네 콜나서 대 양주 파야 보니 다시 인지 강라 유지래. 내 벽에 강라 송송. 내 지나서 샹주점에 돈바 트레발로 되면 당아도 참만냠도 연다 아세 아니 군두고 트대. 제가 군두고 트들 마음보 요래서 양디나 동반이 세와당 데리고 있는 안에 쇼주고 로드를 마음보다 된다. 그가 도덕시나 강한 데는 디데요.
During the prayer of that day, His Holiness mentioned that he is not taking a vow or giving a vow, but practicing this together, generating Buddhist mind. And this was live streamed. We heard it through the Tibetan section. You can go back and listen to the English section. I'm sure it's still there. And, he was quoting Shantideva, Nagarjuna, and so on. But don't worry about it. Basically, he was giving this very simple instruction, and you can easily follow that instruction.
Okay. 제가 다 대행 알아서 단다 사가 대회겠다. 세 니슈 고. 다 산이가 돈으로 가서 들만 냠도 내가 당하고 산제 주소만 돈 차례스. 된도 먹고 왔지. 아니 디올 마 냠도 진 된게다. 다 소인 바 조지에 아마 게데게 로잖아. 지나서 갈래 전로.
인지나라.
인지나 로잖아.
아니 계실라 니 파도 보투금 건데 스칼레도 그 야마 보야죠 봐.
알레.
나도 요마레.
내 코는 동대.
도 콘트 셴버질로 주로나 그래서는 나디 그 파도 땡딩치 도움도 와.
알레레 오케이.
음제디는 딜.
Okay, George, you can read this.
Because I cannot control the PDF, and so can someone like George, where you can control the PDF and
or maybe you can
read it slowly?
Make the co-host.
Well, I can't control the PDF, so.
Because PDF from me, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Only you can control the PDF. So I could recite, but you need to keep scrolling through, unless.
Okay, I will do. Yeah.
You'll do that?
Yeah. Start to pray here.
계실라.
No.
수드네 텍스트 템도 수드 성금도 이게.
알레.
어디네 성금도. 얘는 아주대 통금도 수저로 봐. 이 계실라 쓰기도에. 칠제시 이게.
알레.
기술라 그냥 차 유용을
다.
뭐天罗呢 간다 마天罗呢 와다 동도 나야 오차스
오케이. 제가 참여가 다 드린 건데 사다베 나라 양종아들이 셈지어 간제 셈이 상보지 계기 샤접 셈 계기 셈 샤접 셈 데모 도말랭게 셈고 말세.
So because today is the 29th day of Sakadawa, before the Sakadawa ends, I would like to practice this with you because it's being the special month. And so George can read it slowly, and while you can, the rest of you follow through it. Because and George can do the actual leading prayer, and then you can read, together. We can read together.
Yeah. Okay.
Slowly.
So we start now?
Yes.
Yeah, start now, just.
We already took the refuge and the Bodhicitta, so we don't have to do that. We can start with the two prayer to Shakyamuni Buddha.
Yeah.
To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of God and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shaka clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge.
Okay, now Sabal Empress.
May any small merits that I may have amassed, by thus prostrating, making offering, confessing, rejoicing, and asking the Buddhas to remain and teach the Dhamma, be dedicated now to supreme and perfect enlightenment.
Good job. Okay, now second, I take refuge.
I go for refuge to the three jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of migrating beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Supreme Sangha Assembly. And I do so to attain an enlightened mind. In order to fulfill the aims of myself and others, I shall develop a supreme enlightened motive, and toward all sentient beings, my invited guests, I shall act with supreme enlightened conduct. May I become a Buddha to benefit all.
Beautiful.
I go for refuge to the three jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of migrating beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Supreme Sangha Assembly. And I do so to attain an enlightened mind in order to fulfill the aims of myself and others. I shall develop a supreme enlightened motive, and toward all sentient beings, my invited guests, I shall act with supreme enlightened conduct. May I become a Buddha to benefit all.
Without take an benefit all set the Kavlata, Suzujala, Shanchuku Semna, but about it, some Buddhas.
And so when you do the third time, may I, be awakened for the benefit of all the sentient beings. And when you recite that for the third time, then you imagine that you received the Bodhicitta. Now, feel that you have generated a Bodhicitta mind.
Okay.
So it's not like you're taking Bodhisattva vow saying, well, by the time you said this third time, then you imagine that you have seated the Bodhicitta mind in your heart.
Okay, good. Okay.
I go for refuge to the three jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merits of migrating beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Supreme Sangha Assembly. And I do so to attain an enlightened mind. In order to fulfill the aims of myself and others, I shall develop a supreme enlightened motive. And toward all sentient beings, my invited guests, I shall act with supreme enlightened conduct. May I become a Buddha to benefit all.
Oh, good. That's wonderful. 아니 다 중매다나 데리케이 정마다나 가도 주와치하라 다나 제고 말해.
We don't have to do the dedication now. This will be get done later.
Okay? 제자 때 답되고 쇼도 왔어. 제자 답되고 되었어.
So this is very simple and straightforward. It's a case.
제자 내려 지나서 담자 켜내고 같은데 요 말을 가서 네 꿀꿀에 주소 주소 강가 제올 때 마체 제고 때 지나도 제대로한데 빼야 보여래.
This one has no particular commitment. At the curriculum center, we are all doing this daily basis, and I advise you too at the Shantideva, you do this as well.
Okay? 그래서 get 소소다. 지금 냠도 체크해 말다. 소소 get 소소기.
And we don't have to do it together. You can do it individually at home.
제자 니마치라 테마 숨 시가 두 가지나 체진데 그래.
You can do this as many as 4 times, 5 times per day.
Okay? 어제다 네가 간다. 다 세바야 붙여야 돼. 대미 전박해 막. 대천도 강가 세바야 보여야 돼. 그 내가 요 말씀.
And one of the major, advice after generating the Buddhist mind is to really be kind, which I know all of you are.
Okay. 다 이나 당가도 데리 곰자한다. 다 저도 나고 곰자한 바 가져서다.
So now we're going to move to the meditation. Have you been doing meditation? The subject that we discussed yesterday.
제자 당가도 땡지고 고와서진. 근데 젠데 땡지고 고와 녀와였나? 아니 대가 야보 녀와 내반 잡았나? 대라 때네 때네 또 땡지고 고와도 고랑시고 내용 거들 맞고 그 절로 쓰려는 것도.
So when we think about the dependent origination, when we have a good understanding about the dependent origination, and then the understanding the dependent origination of labeling or designation comes very easily. It comes naturally to us. So it's very important first to really contemplate on the cause and the effect of the dependent origination.
또 전에 다 나오 지나도 검지자면 또 지단 텔파 아니 타도나 파 때봐였나? 아니 지금 가로 타도나 아니 주 간다야 안 되단다고 시까지 주무 주사 직전에 매바시 샘나 텐데지 샤토봐였나? 아니 당가서 가로야 고마 보여다스.
So as you continue to analyze, do the analysis meditation, and when you start getting this awareness and the realization, there's nothing is concretely, inherently built. There's nothing a particular object where we can put our finger to find its intrinsic nature. When we get there, then we're getting very close for the realization of emptiness.
제가 나도 젠데 때주사도 코 추주 차이마도 젠데 때주사도 빼 내가 쳐버렸어. 대야네 나 나올라 봐. jelatinnen revo yon revla ti kola samlo pa ta su ta pa ta so semna chi 가지 나도 껴 가는 나도 녜시 많이 껴는데 샤스 나도 레베서 나도 레라 그래 얘는 나도 소화 말레바데 녜시 지금 껴져 대 녜시 껴 쳐줘.
And so really again and again doing the meditation on the cause and effect of the dependent origination, when we do these practices repeatedly, then we get this very strong conviction. And to really get this strong conviction is very important. To really get the real feeling about the shunyata, emptiness.
제가 나고가다 다 소소라 가지 나간도. 다 나가다 렌도 되는데 두 치단에 가지 다 파투사 가지 땡데에서 돼 두를 가지 땡에 따봐. 대가도 고와 녀게 잘해. 다 녀살다. 다 저도 녀사요 와요스.
Last night we first chose an object, then see how we perceive that object, how this object appears to us. And then the next move is to now examine how the object appears to us, is the actually exist or not, how it exists or not. And then when we do that, then this will really lead us to much deeper understanding about the dependent origination. So you have been doing that meditation, and we assume you already got into this very deep level of understanding of the dependent origination.
다 대령가동에 언제나도 그 신바지 나도 사람님이잖아. zu tomba ni zu tomba ni zu so tomba ni le ja zu jama zu le ja tomba ni jama su ji wa chodo te nam ji ko kan le le.
And today we're going to choose another text to get a better understanding about the Shunyata. As in the Heart Sutra, it mentions emptiness is form. Form's emptiness. There's no other than there's no other than emptiness. So when you recite this text, how do you understand it?
와 다투도 세고되면 당가도 빼차차만 가도 컴퓨터 나라야 그나 수시 말보시로 와 수시 말보시 마보야 뭐 걸고지 비게 컴퓨터나 샤치 다들 좀지네 테 메멘트나 고 마보도 걸라도 그랬어.
So if you look at an object, say a red dot on a computer, and you see this like a circle of a dot, a circle of red on the screen. And then as you zoom in and try to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually you will lose that very shape as well as the color of that dot. And as you really zoom in, and it kind of loses that pattern of the color, and it's become some kind of a gray. Is that the case? Yeah, please do an experiment on a computer. And as you zoom in and make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the color, of course, the shape's already not there. The color loses its intensity, and then gradually it becomes some kind of like a gray or shadow color. And therefore, like when you examine that now, like an area of like a zoomed in red dot or the red circle, and the redness, I think, already lost its intensity, and it's become like a gray or grayish color. And therefore, at this stage, the redness is also the grayish color. The grayish is also reddened color, and you cannot separate them. And therefore, in the Heart Sutra, when it's mentioned emptiness is form, form is emptiness. So this is what is meant. It's like you cannot separate the two entities. And so we're going to do this meditation to really see the singleness identity of different phenomena. In the entry to the Madhyamaka by the Chandrakirti, he uses a rope, and he try to use a rope, and it's confusion on snake. I'm not sure whether you're scared of snake or not, but we are. So we always use that rope scenario to clarify it's not the snake. Maybe you're scared of a mouse. And at the dawn, when the light is not clear, when you see a piece of rope in kind of like a shadowish area, you immediately think that's a snake, and then fear comes into our mind. Maybe you can use a mouse, like you see some object, and then immediately think, wow, there's a mouse there, and get really scared. And if you do this kind of analysis, is this analogy, is this helpful or not? And sorry, can I insert something here? Geshe was really intensely looking at your face, and when you don't respond, then he doesn't think you're getting anything out of it. If you get it, can you shake your head? If you didn't, can you shake your hand the horizontal way? If you get it, can you shake your head vertically? Because we're using, I do this with other teachers. This is like social media or online, behavior. So we need to be a little bit more interactive. Is that okay? Because otherwise he keeps repeating, thinking you didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we don't analyze like this way, when you say the emptiness is a form is emptiness, we don't really get any feeling. Do you get any feeling when you say form is emptiness? Does it make sense to you? And then because we immediately think emptiness, there's nothing to hold on to emptiness, right? Then how come the form is emptiness?
Yeah. But emptiness is form.
Emptiness is form, yeah. And then, when you say the emptiness is form, people start debating how an emptiness can be held or touched.
And then
among the tradition of Kagyu and Nyingma, when they look at the Shunyata, they say nothing is exists, and except in our mind. It's just like and they would say all phenomena is merely conceived or perceived. There's nothing beyond that. That's the belief of the Kagyu and the Nyingma tradition. Maybe for you, the example that you use for the computer, the red dot, is easier. When you enlarge it, when you zoom in, gradually you lose the intensity of the redness, and instead you find a kind of a grayish pattern on the screen. And then when you see whether this redness and the grayish is the same or they're separate, and this is where the practice is useful. And so when we use the form and emptiness, and when you really start investigate, analyze the form as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and eventually you'll find nothing out of it, right? There's no form as you go deeper into meditation. And then this is what, like the emptiness, where it's come from. And then you're thinking, wow, actually, when you investigate carefully, there's no form to be found, but still I perceive a form, and that form that I have perceived is merely the activities of my mind. I have designated, I mentally produced, but in reality this form is not really exist independently. So when you get this kind of level of understanding about emptiness, then that is incredible improvement. And if you really put finger to yourself and do your examination of the self, please first put your finger to yourself. Where are you putting your finger when you try to identify self? So most of them are pointing toward your chest. Is that right? And if you say it's the chest itself, so as you do this kind of investigation, we realize that the self is not at the chest. And that means we're pointing the finger at the wrong place, right? Therefore, now we're going to do meditation. We try to really find the self in our body, or self in us. I want to find the self in us. So put your finger wherever you think the self exists, and then examine, is this correct or not?
Sometimes
people think that this is a silly game, but it's not. It has a very profound meaning behind these practices. And therefore, when we really search for the meaning of emptiness, we have to do this kind of very detailed analysis. I referred these practices and to His Holiness's explanation of a three principle path. I found that very accessible and easy to understand, especially when he is talking about the emptiness section in that book. Otherwise, if you try to read the Chandrakirti's entrance to Madhyamaka, or read all other texts, the King of the Reason or the Logic, the Dependent Origination, and so on, it's not easy to really understand by just merely reading it. We have been studying this for our entire life. We still don't understand it fully. So it's not easy to understand emptiness from this kind of text. Now, put your finger wherever you think yourself is located, and ask this question: is this correct? If it's not correct, then move the finger to the next the places where you think the self exists. And if you think this is mistaken, and keep moving and try to pinpoint to the self you strongly believe in yourself, and see where it is.
We don't
have to be shy. We are practitioners. We are learning. So we're practicing it right now.
Okay. 5 minutes, okay?
For a few minutes.
Oh yeah. Get it, oh yeah.
Have you searched self in yourself? So this is how you really investigate self. And usually what we do is we put our finger into the wrong place to begin with. And then we believe this is the correct way. And this is how we, grasp self.
도치네 다대 아니 다 단대가도 딩하는 전제가 꼴 sometimes 다 단다 때네 답에 된 주스 폼보 ngala tene ani mitala ani chamba se roma se maria sa komite tasha wade tas samye go yores.
In previous practices, we have been focusing on the cause and effect of dependent origination. So now we are looking at the labeled or the designation of dependent origination, where we, identify things by labeling it.
제가 고아차들 두 전에 단다차도 토하니와 두 고면에 한테 삼로만보 당 삼로만보 당 거다데.
So this is not easy to really get into you. You have to do the many times of these practices, repeating these practices again and again, and then eventually you will get this really very deep understanding about this dependent origination of a labeling.
제가 죽 동바고 사데 죽 랑군의 집에 동화레스. 랑군의 집에 동화 죽에서나 캔다지 코도도.
So when we hear the form is emptiness, it's telling us that the form lacks the intrinsic nature. Therefore, it lacks the intrinsic nature. Therefore, is emptiness of intrinsic nature, shunyata.
제가 되게 빼다 가르나 주 코로나 랑군의 집에 동화레. 랑군의 집에 동화 주 다랑라야 아니 돈이 라그레스. 카요 말레스. 내 숙제 내 돈이 카카 샤요 말레. 단데 마봉에 빼샤바.
So as I used the red dot and its analogy of the redness and the grayness being the same or the inseparable, when we look at the form is emptiness, and basically we are establishing emptiness in the form. We're not really segregating or separating emptiness at one hand and the form on the other hand, but we really see the emptiness in the form. At the same time, we see form, is being the quality of emptiness because it lacks intrinsic nature. So the form, the emptiness is actually in same nature. They are not separable as an entity.
제상 아주 죽세야지 그 소수치 인삼 tellan 죽죽 아니 대 인삼은 개반제 아니 tel라더니 다 잡아도 당와 제거로 왔어.
Normally, what we do is first we identify a form, and then we think that is, like a self, and then we make this strong perverted view or the mistaken view of a self being the body, and then through that brings a lot of attachment and hatred.
Okay. 단 되게 밴드 때던데 단다 가로 세리게 가서 confront cars what is it? 세리게 직제단이도 와 가세. What is it? The science they check?
Experiment?
No. What is another one? His Holiness always say the example.
A quantum.
A quantum what's that? Quantum physics.
Physics.
Oh, the quantum physics 가르쳐도 갖고라 가르쳐요. 다 대도 집안 놓으래.
So this is just like using the same approach we do with the quantum physics. The same knowledge, same analysis.
소소 누구 투인바, 소소 누구 가와트 간접문제 투인바, 예소에서.
So as we try to find the self in our body, we will try to locate the self. And have you done it? Did you do that while during that meditation?
제가 누구 간접문제 투고도 왔어. 나도 너와지야 삼나. 너와지야 삼나. 삼도 너와지야 삼 투고도 와가지고.
So when we locate the self, we put our finger in different part of our body.
제 장아 아니 나주고 아니 누구 투사 노사지라 누 텔라 뜨무 대들라 그랬어. 근데 누구 투네 내 인생에 텔라 뜨무 대들라 그랬어.
So we put our finger at the wrong location. This is what we call the ignorance of self-grasping.
제가 나온게 남바. 군도가 잡아야 되는라서 뜨무 대사대 아니 로 노르바 추바질라 그랬어. 제가 가서 누구 투사 노르다.
So as His Holiness mentioned, that ignorance is basically a mistaken view, a confused view.
다도 전에 소소 따지잖아. 당원에 파 세와이나 당원에 지까지 누구 주사 지오면 누구 선배 미자 따요 점지 땡데지 다 아니 된중은데 트베 또위게 땡데 텔라 고와냐 샤와이나 아니 가도 동반이라 가로 타닝도.
And as we do this investigation of a self and putting finger in different locations where we believe the self exists, and as you do this very detailed investigation, and we find no self, and that conclusion, there's no self to be found. Itself is, like the appreciation of understanding the emptiness, and having found no self, and then we realized that self is merely conceived, merely designated by our mind, merely labeled. And in reality, there is no self exist with intrinsic nature. There is no inherited self to be found. And therefore, it's equivalent to the emptiness of intrinsic nature in self. And when we get there, then really our appreciation of the emptiness is become very stronger and much deeper.
제 자가 안에 빼나 담보 땡데게 돌아파 내셔니 안에 대녀서에 질라야 안에 뚜베게 돌아야 내셔니 좋아 담보 땡데게 돌아 내셔니 봐 손도 패다 내버지 안에 대랑 내셔니 봐시 안에 대내 안에 다 뚜다 뚜룩 뚜당 거 파 내셔니네 다데 라와 그냥 문도 펜스 찍지라 띠바레샤 선배 든지지 선배 로로셔나 안에 동문이 있다와 공바 안내를 송화해서 군도 빠져나 송샤스.
So first we really try to understand the dependent origination, and once we get a very deep and profound understanding about the dependent origination, and then that all phenomena are arises through the working of the dependent origination. And when we realized that, and then we move to the dependent origination of relativity, that everything's relative to the other, the object is relative to the subject, and so on. And as you do more meditation on that, and when we are aware and we realized that no intrinsic nature or self exists, everything is produced either through dependent origination of a cause and effect, or the labeled, or the through the working of the relativity. And when we realize that, when we get that, then our understanding about emptiness is become very profound, and our appreciation of the emptiness and its like dependent origination is become very strong. And this is what His Holiness said: we're getting a very close to fully realizing emptiness.
제가 다 지나던 당고가도 땡데콜라 손 땅에 봐 땡데콜라 손 땅에 봐. and touch the direction of Tutang Kola, Kandid Tusha, Kandid Tushas, Tende Resamba, that Tutang the candidate or something, gone to the chapters.
So last night we have been meditating on the dependent origination and how the dependent origination produced things. Today, I would like you to meditate on the analysis of the relativity, how things are related to each other.
Okay.
So please meditate on the relativity. That's all. So when you do the analysis of the relativity, we can look at it, still use the cause and effect. See how the cause is relative to the effect or the result, right? How the result is relative to the cause. They're related to each other. And by really investigating with this kind of a method, we try to get a deeper understanding about an emptiness.
다 지나서 말았다나 아니 다 기신 아웃에 조종하더라고서 제자 내 폼벌라 때니 다 가서 따기까지 나 미시 타와에 따기 다 데이터다 가려서 내 때에 따바다다 그랬어 아니 기신 아웃이 수보 서가나 섭다 될 때니 기신 아웃했다 기신 아웃 아니 미 따라다니 어디 기신 아웃 수보랬다 군이 파 때다 티고라 삼당고 해서
So for example when you look at me and you see my body and then you immediately think, oh, this is a Geshe hour. So you know, the Geshe hour is like a relative to or dependent on my body, my physical body. So the physical body and myself, it seems like relying on each other. You know, they're relative to each other.
제가 지나서 단단가 니요 사변 도나 내 수본 통할 때는 기신하고 벽에도 저도 똑바로 그랬어. something.
로 디코마송.
근데 지나서 니요 사변 동안 도와 르는데 오나 그래서 기신하고 벽에도 저도 내 수본 통화도 지나도 나를 삼로 째그랬어.
So for example, if you at a metro station in New York, and when you see my body, you immediately draw conclusions of wow, Geshe hour is there. You will draw a conclusion that my body is myself.
얘나야 나다 내 수부 가가로 왔어. 뒤집어 말어 왔다. 되니 뒤땅은 대화 대체고 그랬어.
But in reality, myself and my body is two different entities. And then we still, are dependent on each other. We are relative to each other. And we have to now investigate about that relationship.
다 된디 다 코닝은 봐 뒤집자 마도 아니 봐 체내던 거는 계신 아우사지 문두 선배 로 선배 샤르토와였나 아니 동반이 따위 내도 손발이스.
And as you do the meditation and you realize that Geshe Ngawan's body and the Geshe Ngawan's self is kind of dependent on each other. They're like relative to each other. But in reality, they're two different things. And when you are able to grasp that, then your understanding about emptiness has become much more closer.
제가 나들은 다 나한테 하고요. 나 내신 얘기고 제 삼거래서. 삼거 맵에 따라야 나 수보도나 어프게 계신 가운데 조소요 왔대 내신 얘기 맵에 따라서.
So one sign that we're still not didn't get the true meaning of emptiness, or we didn't get a strong conviction about the true meaning of emptiness, is that when you see a Geshe Ngawa, you immediately draw a conclusion that that the body is Geshe Ngawa's self. And as long as you still have that mistaken view, our understanding about emptiness is still further away from us.
당한도 지금 들어왔지. 알레 Geshe Ngawa 수보도 Geshe Ngawa 저도 말해라 그랬어. Geshe Ngawa 수보래가 저도 대 말해라 그래. 가을 랍 그래. 랍토 그랬어.
If I ask you, is my body is myself, you will easily say, no, that's not the case.
이나 차도 가을 랍다 가서 샘라 때 내시 님이 따라 간토다 나피엔도 섹토한테 그 뒤급 되다.
And but you understand when although you say no, but your mind still deeply believes that our body is ourselves, and as a we're still far away from understanding the true meaning of emptiness. And the sign is that every time we see a body, we think that is the self. And so this is like a clear sign that our understanding about emptiness is still far away from its reality.
Okay, 다 검자셔. 알았어.
So we're going to do meditation on this.
다 두탄데 거린다. 담보 전제 두탄제 이렇게 삼다. 근데 텐에 따바 두탄라 삼보지 당쇼 왔어.
So we meditate first on the dependent origination of cause and effect, how the cause is related to the effect, how the effect is related to the cause. And then the second, how, so the second one is me and my body. They also, are relative to each other. One is relying on the other one. So how the self and the body is related to each other. And so we do meditation on that.
Okay. Okay. 다 건네줘서 다 또 곰 잡투서래 곰도 잡쇼.
So how was your practices? Please continue doing meditation.
제가 되서 예배 갈았다 단대 미간가 출로처럼 너무 날 쑤셔서 되서 예배 갈 곰때 잡던 너들이 지내려. 아니 곰 잡도 배는 가서 배네. 즉 가로 세마로 쏘나 벽에 저거나 누가서 맞고 쓰니야 축구네 도들치고 그러는데 그야 손이 모양 그러 와. 되게 잡았어.
Yes, meditation is really very important to get a much deeper actually experience of the subject. It's like you have to do this repeatedly. Like when you cooking something, you have to really put fire and make sure it's boiled and well cooked. The meditation produces that effect.
근데 재미를 숲쇼래. 재미 숲쇼도 그래. 거기 되나 라무라 룩네 주서만 먹고 시작을 해. 아니 쿠셔나다 코페 심모 차요.
And Chinese has this very delicious soup where they put a lot of things together and they simmer this for a long time. And when you do that, then the taste is amazing.
어제 제가 아니 자갈에네 변나 쫑도서 이게 테나나 룩치 슈고 이런 뭐 슈고도 왔어. 그 땡거나 코치 코 소소 보여도 대듯이 봐. 만도 하코와도 야네야도 곰야네야도 곰나 아니 코치 다 데니지 쿠용 거 사래.
So for the Indians, when they do cooking, they first fry the onion for a long time. And as you do that, then it produces this, very strong flavor. Likewise, when we do the meditation again and again, then gradually it produces this amazing realization through that meditation.
Lola taksam ko re ya tene tabata na pena ngazu phombo nga nge phombo la ta nge phombo nga la ta ro ya koni jinde ke marwa.
So I asked a question again about the second meditation, like a merely mental designation, like the dependent origination of a merely mental designation. I just wanted to make sure that I understood it correctly. And Geshe saying, yes, usually we identify ourselves by merely looking, designating our body. So our self is depending on our body. Can you say, or the relying on our like?
That was.
Engineer tendency to need to correct it. But then tax job. Did a doing a drusni ni patula yet kabuto. Then tax, but that we labeled this.
Jela tunin develop tabares. Could jetigan develop tabar. Developing Kuni generated one was. Nga dang a pomboni could generate camera in a chingman ching shato marwa. Yeah, Tobe thought of the tell it at the charge in the
October doesn't near the Tobe doesn't shaking.
Tobe thousand yet test your contest child.
So yes, I think I jumped one step when I talked about the merely designated. That's that's the most subtle level of understanding dependent origination, because I had that hesitation. So far we have been talking about the two types of dependent origination. The first is a cause and effect. The dependent origination of a cause and effect, where things produced. The cause produces effect, so the effect is dependent on the cause, right? That's the first one. Second is the it's a dependent origination of relativity, because our body is related to ourself. Ourself is related. There's this relativity, the relationship about the relativity, and we conceive things through the relativity. So that's the second one.
I take a code, Yabol and a tenita, Tobe Tatamajim, do some quadrant, and it's to money teleco.
And then if we go further, and then we go just a mental designation, this is the most subtle understanding about the dependent origination, where everything's a merely conception, merely conceived.
To the open, Lapa Ebala and Lapa Yokoshava, Yoban Yagashava was. They couldn't generate camera.
So when we talk about the left and the right, it's not like a cause and effect. They're merely relative to each other. Like because there's a red, there is a left. No.
That they could Tambo generated the rapa, tele and the tenet of the death tower. That tele, that to be thought of the tasho, that to be ta. Parts and going to talk about that much that those that you do some coaches, so much coordinate near why not call Garupa tiny levels.
No. So the first one is the cause and effect, where things rely dependent on cause, the result or the effect is related on the cause. And then the second one is now another translation here says dependent imputation, where like we impute things. And it's depend on our impute, like the body is imputed for our like identification of the self and so on. The third one is the dependent origination of the labeling or the mental designation, which is the most subtle understanding about the dependent origination. This is because now we see all phenomena are nothing more than a mere designation of of our mental activity.
Okay, any questions?
So, are you getting any understanding?
I have a question.
Sure.
Yes.
So we always fixate on the I in our current birth, current period right now. And I do understand that the I is a creation. But if I think about the very, very subtle consciousness, which is part of my mental continuum and keeps doing through rebirth, is that specific to just, is that shared? It's not shared, I assume. It's just mine. So what would you call that? Would that actually have some kind of a specific individual connection in that very, very subtle consciousness?
Jidan Tandanganzu, am I unmuted? Oh, yeah. Dijilo.
No.
This one, Kongi, Jidan, Tangaranzu, July, Nidu Karim, Binelli, Simga Susango, Rensingum Majuba. I go to Jebu Manguj, Drusango, yes. In your single dose. I nearly another chicken Namshi Tamugalia to the Jevon Chuekovia, and that chicken Namshi Tamudigi, Gawa Digi, second that Namshi Tamujova. Digi Gawa Chimu Namsilia, Jembo Yorvas. Kulea that you can kid over, Namshi Diding, Gawa Digi, Tajik Susulang, Harasag, and the Gawa Chimu Namshi Digalia, Taran Mindrova. You mean to my Gawa Din Namshi, the Gawa Mong Begawa Chimen Namshi, the Patula, Javaji or Bata. Javaji, you do Zamba, Chicasore, Namshi Dilia, Mixegi, Gupchi, Yorbes, Tajik Berensing room, Mayine, Koranjik, Namshi Digan, Namshi the Chitazi rebes, Maradu, Nian Namshi, Kun Namshi, the Jorba. And the Tidilia, Jiglang and Besas and Gavachima, the Namshi Tagal Mingrava, Shabagal Mingmarva. Even the number digging Namshi Chitaba Dilia Tajik Dinalia, the best chassis of your best. In room chassis your best.
Trebichashi Omar there.
That's all.
Te Cardro. Yeah, Trebichashi Kege Omar, Kajete, Kona de Chenge de Tosi passing on the Tonga, Taya Patsena, Ko Tobe Tatsamch. Ko Nima de Yovala Teni, Shuma the Yontowach. Shuma the Yoval, Nima the Chatawach, Chimenechi Young Maris.
So our most subtle consciousness has no specific individual. Yeshilo.
No.
Shen Riduel.
Oh, so.
Oh, let's do I get a share with music?
Another Namji cut the drum, Mansai, or Kondo.
Sorry, Geshe-la's Zoom is being invaded by the next practitioners. To get back to George's question, our most subtle consciousness has no specific individual identity or individual inherited nature. And that's because the very subtle consciousness of this life is dependent on the future subtle consciousness. If you say that our future subtle consciousness is established or dependent on these very activities of this consciousness, so they are relative to each other. And this consciousness is, relative to the future subtle consciousness. Therefore, the future subtle consciousness does not inherently exist.
Yini joy bena Kasanga Namshida, Tiring Namshin, Reva Yong, Kunin Reva Jutan Malebio was. Yenaya Kasanga Temena, Tiring the Levama, Tiring the Yorda, Kasan the Kunka Chatwa Yong.
So, of course, there is a continuum or the continuation, but they're relative to each other, but they're not identical to specific today's consciousness or the yesterday's consciousness. For example, if you look at the consciousness of the yesterday, and if you look at the consciousness of today, and you cannot say they're being the same because it has already evolved.
Okay. Told you 제가 심마서도 배나 가상도 내니 바라고 콘트라바도 좀 당시 다요.
So you don't have to look, beyond this lifetime, but you can analyze the consciousness of yesterday, and you can analyze the consciousness of today and see the relationship, how they're dependent on each other, how the relative they are. And by doing that, then it will overcome your specific question, whether they have a specific identity. Because whatever the specific identity is not intrinsically established, but dependent on the either causes or the result or through, imputation.
제가 가상의 시바데 이제 와치는 말로 드린데래요 말이지. 그 가상이 이제 완료사래지.
So the yesterday's consciousness, arrived here today through evolving. It's not the identical consciousness that we are living on, but from since yesterday, consciousness has already evolved a lot. So it's no longer the same.
제가 되게 아니 지체 된데서 고단한 말래요 말이지. 아, 준비해야 돼.
So if you have a clear understanding about the dependent origination of a cause and effect, and then this will really help you to understand this consciousness, continuum and evolvement between the time.
제가 당가도 지금 컴퓨터가 지금 매전하고 지때와나 계산의 조직을 셈다 되게 조직 셈이 가 누드문데 따와는 거니 거기 가차더래. 나도 삼난 도고 말에 가. 나원에 지금 컴퓨터가 매전하고 지어나 거기 가래 돼서.
And if you have a most advanced kind of a measurement by some kind of a computing measurement, and if you look at the composition of a consciousness, let's say yesterday's consciousness, the composition of the consciousness yesterday, and the composition of the consciousness today, if you really analyze it with the most subtle equipment, of course, they wouldn't be exactly the same. They could be totally different. So, are you understanding any of this conversation? Can you shake your head if you understand? To Geshe-la.
가제 근데 저완로 매봐야나 다고 가제 직 대바르직 차대 다고 따다래고 말이지.
If there is no change or evolvement, then there's got to be some problem with the consciousness.
Okay.
Geshe-la, Amy has a question.
Okay, please go ahead. Amy, you mute.
Yeah,
you have to unmute.
I'm trying to unmute her.
Okay, now we can hear you.
No, still she mute. Amy, we don't hear you. We can see your mouth. No, you have to unmute.
I'm
maybe
there.
Maybe the host can unmute.
I'm trying to unmute her, but for some reason she's not getting unmuted.
Yeah, this is because she muted herself, then you cannot mute.
Okay, let me send her a message.
Okay, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Now good. Yeah, Amy, you got it.
So am I understanding you that the meditations that we do on the mere labeling is that to do with, is that temporal basically, whereas the whole and its parts is more spatial? Or anyway, that's my question. And could you give us a meditation to do for the most subtle, for the labeling?
Geshe-la.
No.
I'm just asking one other thing. Was to label Geshe-la on his body, is that the whole and its parts, or is that the most subtle labeling? And if it's the whole and its parts, could Geshe-la give us a meditation for mere labeling?
그래서
그 공기소를 단단한조 똑바로 딱좀 내줘 봐.
아
디 먼저 덴데도알이야 아니 가서래. 나 내가 지셔들 봤어. 디치게 아니 디간이야 검집단지 치료나스. 안 디간이야 검집단데 내가 먼저 디 차시에 됨지스니에 등기 계실라 수면서 그런 디에 시고 개부세네. 차시에 됨지에 가르스 거레스. 안 디고래 모르지나로 나스.
진짜 다 곰자야 된다고는 단단하고 치대다 나도 곰하고 잡다래. 요. 야. 곰자야 된다고는 나도 단단하고 곰하고 잡다래. 다 도지 삼다 이래로.
네.
아니 다 나시기 다 때네 답에 땡주셔야 돼. 파 제와이나 간제 도도신 누구 주자 매와죠. 다까지 또배 따서 맞죠. 또배 파 샤다 맞도 코라 랑고는 저바 가야 문도 텔레 텔레지라 삼네 대와이나. 아니 텔라 아니 때네 답에 가로 또배 따섬지 아니 삼당당사지.
Okay. So I don't need to, guide you for the meditation because the basic technique is we have been practicing yesterday and today. You can use the same meditation method, but the different thinking. For example, if you need to, meditate on the mere mental designation, basically you really investigate, how things exist. And as you continue, the investigating the self or the nature of self, as we taught in the previous classes, and when you couldn't find any self there, and then you have to say, if I cannot find anything, right, then how come it's still there? Just because it's merely our mental designation. And this is where we get the conclusion. And because we labeled, we designate things through our conception. But in reality, there's no intrinsic nature to be found. And through this kind of meditation, then you get a better understanding about this merely mental designation.
아니 다는 다 차실에 되는다 그러나 당가도 고대오 지나배나 샤르도 납상사야디 샤라테는 너로드는 샤테네로 온 거래 차시.
Then the dependent origination of the parts, the whole and the part. Again, we're looking at the relativity, concept about the relativity. If you say the east, right? First, we look at the whole, as like maybe this is a whole country. And then if you say the east, that is the very existence of the east is relative to the existence of the maybe south or other, directions, right? So there also, the east is dependent on south or the non-east. So if there is no, other directions, there's no reason to call it east. So this very concept about that particular part, let's say east, is dependent on the non-east part. So the one part is depending on the other, and they are relative to each other. So that's what we meant by whole and part.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Now I have to go some other place. And it's main things just you guys also do like today what I explained, do the meditation slowly, and don't give up. The same thing when we cooking some boiled water, big pot, we put small fire over there, then slowly cook. When you fire maybe 2 days, then turn off, then be cold, then try to fire again, then you have to do again this. Therefore, always, don't push, don't stop. Okay?
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Like that, then it's wonderful. Then also do the kayo loyegi tandang chiktai wadan ba.
So also please do this like a very practical, recitation I have just, sent you or shared with you about the short text about the generation of a Buddhist mind. If you do this daily, this will be really beneficial in our real life.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you everyone. It's wonderful to see you. See you next month.